Thanks for having me, Bill.
Not a problem. Okay,
Bye-bye.
guys, let's take a look at the state availability map here for what we are talking about. You can see IAC is going to cover a large majority of the United States by the time all these processes are filed and the pending cases are approved. But if you look at the map, we've had countless calls for a product in California. And I don't know if Scott's still on there or not, but at any time you want to chime in, Scott, just interrupt me. But we are gonna file a product in California. We have a product filed in Minnesota, Wisconsin. So that's a playground we haven't played in as far as a marketing company here on our end of it. So those products, I know I talked to Cindy just a few minutes ago. She's in the middle right now of getting the comp grids all signed out and ready to go. So we know those states will be going from blue to green here in the very near future. Missouri, Georgia, still pending. And so we got a very, very good offering for you. So if you have any questions on state availability, give us a call. There will be a contact sheet here at the end of the webinar where you can get a hold of us, and we will try to get you set up. So that's the map where we're currently doing business. Okay, so the household discount. This is a source of, I think, great benefit for you and me as agents in the sales field, and I'll tell you why. First off, let me go back to the map. Keep your eye on Ohio and New Jersey because there are some different guidelines for the household discount in those two states, Ohio and New Jersey. Okay, so this is a household discount, not a husband and wife discount. So in other words, you could have a man living with his sister or a brother or a lifelong partner, civil union partnership. It could be maybe an adult grandchild living with their grandparent. They would qualify for the discount, and here's the key. Only one person need to apply in every state on that map except for New Jersey and Ohio. So when you look at New Jersey and Ohio, two people have to apply. They both have to be approved to get the household discount. The household discount is 7%. So as an example, let's say you're sitting there talking to a 65-year-old gentleman or a lady, and their husband or partner is 60 years old. In every state except Ohio and New Jersey, you would still be able to reduce their premium by an additional 7% based on the rate sheet you're looking at. One person has to apply. So that's a huge benefit, and we can use that as a leverage to go ahead and get them to make the decision to enroll in the IAC Medicare supplement. Here's another situation that I've run into countless times in the last 30 years of selling Medicare supplement insurance. I don't know how many times I've ran into a situation to where one of the spouses or one of the individuals applying was in good health and the other was in very bad health. So now, by only having one person apply to get the discount, that is a very good closing tool for you and I when we're in the field. I don't know how many times I've heard, well, if you can't insure me, I don't want to move either, or if you can't insure my wife or whatever, whichever one of them's sick. But now we have the comeback as, well, Mr. Jones, I know I can't help your wife. However, since you are married, I can go ahead and give you a 7% household discount here today and reduce your premium even further than what we're looking at. So it's a great, great closing tool, and it helps the buyer make a decision. Just so you know, IAC is offering 4 different plans in most every state. There's some states that we have to offer a plan C and I think a D, but most states, the primary products are plan A, F, G as in girl, N as in Nancy. So we got a good product offering out for you, and the household discount applies to every one of those products. So just remember, when you see the map here, Ohio and New Jersey, 2 people have to apply if that's where you're selling or where you're marketing at. In all the other states that are on that map, only one person need apply. Also, just recently, Utah, Illinois, South Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Maryland came on board, and we are now able to write new business on those guys. Kentucky and Ohio on Monday, which is 11/24, we will be able to accept new business in those 2 states. So they just got recently approved. So it takes us about a week once a state approves the rates and the applications. Then we have to take that to the print shop and get the supplies going. So give us about a week. But in Kentucky and Ohio, you can start writing business there on November the 24th. Okay, so let's move right along here. I know we're running out of time here. I want to talk a little bit about the submission of new business. Should you want to submit a business face-to-face, which is what I grew up with. I didn't have cell phones back in 1984 that I know of. Or you can do it through a call center setting. I was in Ohio yesterday visiting with a 200-seat call center. They are extremely impressed with what we showed them up there on how they can submit business, because one of the big things for call centers is if they write a piece of business, how long does it take to get issued? When they found out we could do it on the phone call, there you could just see like the lights going off. It's like, you're kidding. You know, I could get a policy number right at the end of this. You guys will mail that and send the commission directly to here. They said, you know, that's really what we're looking for. So that's a lot of people up there making phone calls, outbound phone calls. So face-to-face or call center settings are the two different ways to submit business. I want to talk a little bit about what Tristan was talking about, though, about the telephonic application process, and let you know kind of how that will affect you. The benefits of the telephonic application process is just what I was telling you about, what they were so happy about up there, is you get immediate results on the sale. So imagine sitting there, you're at the end of the month, say it's the 28th or 29th day of November, and you're sitting there talking to XYZ prospect, and they said, you know, we just got a notification that our rates are going up 20% in December. And here it is, the 28th day of November. Imagine you've already pre-qualified them and you're pretty sure they are going to qualify for the IAC Medicare supplement. You've already went through the health questions, you've pre-qualified them, you've checked their medication. Imagine being able to pick up the telephone, call the underwriting department, get your underwriting or get your agent information out of the way and some brief information on the policyholder. Then the policyholder gets on the telephone and they start verifying information. They start asking the health questions, they verify the medications, they verify the bank information, and then when that phone comes back to you, they'll you know, the client's talking to the underwriter and say, okay, Ms. Jones, I need to talk to your agent. They hand that phone back to you, and they say to you, Bill, your policyholder's approved. Here is your policy number. What I always do is I always put the speakerphone on at that point, because I want the policyholder to hear the immediate results of them being approved and what their policy number is, so that if I'm doing face-to-face or phone calling, they don't have any buyer's remorse. They know they're approved. When the phone call's over or when I walk out the door, they don't think, well, I wonder if I'm going to get approved. I'll bet I get declined. That stuff's over with. That's a time saver for your client, and that is a huge time saver for you and I as agents. If I'm going to get a decline, I would rather know about it right then, right there on the spot, so that I could maybe reach into my sales kit or change horses and go maybe to a lesser restrictive policy or application that's not, you know, as hard on underwriting, you know, like an AARP or something like that. But it gives me another chance to place a piece of business, and if I'm doing face-to-face, that means I don't have to drive back 2 weeks later, try to get back in the house. I already got I got a decline. I know I've got to do something different. It's a lot easier for me to change horses while I'm sitting there talking to the person than it is 2 weeks later when he says, well, you know, I appreciate you trying to help me, but I'll probably get declined, and I was getting nervous. I just went ahead and paid my other premium. So I always say if I'm going to get a decline, I want to know about it right now while I'm talking to them, because it makes my life easier for me to be of benefit to that policyholder. One of the things that most agents aren't interested in is getting paid quick. Just like Tristan said, a policy on a telephonic app, we get that policy issued and out the door in about a day and a half. So that means we've drafted premium. So if we've drafted premium and it cleared the bank, guess who gets paid? You and I. A huge benefit for us as far as getting money in the agent's pockets. Another thing that over 30 years, less mistakes on the application. Now, if you're out there listening and you've never made a mistake on an application, I want you to call me after this is over. I make them all the time when I'm working for some other companies, but I'm here to tell you, with the telephonic app, it's a mistake-free process. About the only mistake could be is if they keyed a letter in their name, spelled their name wrong or something like that. That could always happen. But what I'm saying, it's not something that's going to require you to make another 30-minute trip to get a signature on something. The underwriting department, as Tristan was explaining, they can't move from part 1 of the application to part 2 unless every required field is actually filled out and then they can move on to part 2, part 3, part 4. But if there's something missing, they have to go back and get it. They'll get a red flag up there, and it'll tell them exactly what it is that they need to go back and ask. So less mistakes on an application means less travel for you and me and more money in our pocket as far as lost time. Okay, the face-to-face process, all you do, guys, is call 888-352-5158. You'll complete the agent process. They'll ask you your name, your agent writing number is Christian, address. Go ahead and move through this pretty quick because it's already been covered. They're always going to verify once you give them your agent number if there's any licensing issues. That's more of an issue for people that are doing telephonic sales. Most agents, if they, like myself, I'm domiciled in Missouri. I always know if my Missouri license is due, but if I've got licenses in Texas and Illinois and Colorado, I don't keep track of all that. And a lot of times these companies will send those out 60 days in advance, and I'm kind of tight, so I don't pay those until they're actually due. And sometimes I forget to pay them. So that just lets the underwriter know if you're doing multiple states that you're licensed in, that those licenses are current and up to date. They're going to ask the name, the effective dates, bank draft dates, basically going right down through the policy or down the application. Just it's that simple. They're going to ask you, do you want that sent to you or the client? I always have it come to me. I'd like to verify it. Gives me a chance to pick up the policy and call the client. A lot of people don't. They don't want to pay the expense of mailing that on. So that's your choice. We don't care. It's up to you. You pick and choose. And if you pick one way, you don't have to stick with it. You can do it on a per policy basis. They'll ask you the city and state the application's taken in, the name of the carrier if you are replacing. They will get that information. And then that will let them move on from you to the client. They'll say at that time, okay, Bill, put the policyholder on the phone. And again, guys, they're going to go through all of this information. They're going to ask all the basics, the personal information, what their current insurance situation is. Are they turning 65? Are they currently on a group plan? Do they have a Medicare Advantage going back to original Medicare? Everything that you see on any insurance company's application is part 2 on verifying plan selection. In other words, we are filling out an application, and that application will be neatly typed and in the back of the policy when it goes out the door. So they're going to do all the Medicare eligibility information, the general information. Very important that you cover the general information because they will ask your policyholder and you, did you go over the general information? I think it's located on page 3 of the application. So what they're asking you there is you do not need more than one Medicare supplement. If you choose to buy this policy, you may want to evaluate your current existing insurance to make sure you don't have double coverage or duplicate coverages. And then there's 3, 4, 5, and 6 addresses there. Concerns, should they become eligible for Medicaid sometime during the ownership of this policy. They have certain rights and guarantees. So always address that with your policyholder. You're going to be on the phone or face-to-face with them. Just say, when they ask you, did you read the general information, the correct answer is always yes. They'll verify guarantee issue eligibility. They'll verify the household premium discount. That was a little section I showed you earlier to where you fill out and you check yes and the information that's asked there. At that point, now here this is key, if you're doing a 3-way call or if you're doing a face-to-face, either one. If you're sitting there and they're asking them the medications, that's one of the last things they ask after the medical questions. If they say, okay, hand the phone back to your agent, you got a problem. You're going to get a decline at that point. If they don't verify premium and admin that, then there's an issue. You need to be looking in your kit for something else. But if you hear them going over bank routing information and account number, that policy is going to issue. Then there's the agreement acknowledgement. That's where they're going to read the fraud and disclosure warnings. Now, lost it the first time I heard them tell them they were going to put my policyholder in prison, but guys, that's right above where they sign the application, and we're supposed to read that to them, and they will go over all of that, and I always let my client know they're going to read that, and not to worry, we're not going to come and put them in an insurance prison. So anyway, just cover that with them, and once you guys do this, the telephonic app process, I assure you, you'll want to do it more than once because it is a huge time saver and very, very convenient for us as agents. Okay, underwriting for diabetics, basically put, I'm going to move right past this. I think right here is what I really want you to see. People with diabetes that have ever required more than 50 units of insulin are not eligible for coverage. People with diabetes, in other words, it's diet controlled, insulin dependent, or treated with oral medications, who also have one or more complicating conditions listed in question 6 on the application are not eligible. We're talking about diabetic retinopathy, tingling in the hands or the feet. They want to know if there's any eye problems with diabetics. So you can ask these additional questions right here. Do you have any eye or vision problems? Do you have any numbness or tingling in your toes or your feet? That's called neuropathy. They will be very aware of that. If they're treating for that, then we're not going to issue that policy. If you ever go on the AMA website, guys, you'll find diabetics are about 2 times more expensive to treat than non-diabetics. So if you hit a policyholder that's taking metformin and blood pressure medicine, as long as they're not taking 2 or more of more than 2 of those, there's still a good chance that that policy will be issued. So it says a case is considered. I'm reading. It says consideration for coverage may be given to those persons with well-controlled cases of hypertension and diabetes. You remember Tristan referring back to the 2-year stability on the medications. It says a case is considered to be well-controlled if the person is taking no more than 2 oral medications for diabetes and no more than 2 medications for hypertension. So they could be taking 2 diabetic medications, 2 hypertension medications. As long as that's well controlled, they'll still issue the policy. That's not an automatic decline. So if they're taking insulin and 1 oral medication, that would be the same as 2 oral medications. So you can even write an insulin-dependent diabetic, say that they are taking 30 units of insulin in the morning and 10 at night, as long as they're not taking more than 50. So you got an insulin-dependent diabetic, and they're taking medication for blood pressure. Still got a shot at getting those people issued. So if you have, where this is at right here, guys, this form right here where I was reading that's right near the underwriting guide. So that's also on the IAC agent portal is the underwriting guide. You can always refer back to that, and that'll give you some idea of whether you do or do not have a good shot of putting this piece of business through. Okay, face-to-face, pretty simple. Now that policy comes back to you, and the application is complete, and the policy gets issued. So, guys, that's a huge benefit. Now, the call centers, I'm going to go through this pretty quick because I'm running out of time here. The process is the same as the face-to-face method. You got a 3-way phone call. You get to stay on the phone the entire time when you're doing a call center type situation. So you get to hear what the underwriter says to the policyholders. You can always help with questions that do not pertain to HIPAA. When it comes to health, medications, you got to let the policyholders answer them themselves. You can't help them with those. You can prepare your client, but do not coach. When I say that, prepare yourself. Make sure you make the sale before you call the tele-underwriting department. The underwriter will not sell the policy for you. That's not their job. That's ours. What I'm referring to is if you get a policyholder on there and says, well, now my current policy does this, and they start doing that 3 or 4 times, the underwriter's probably going to pass the phone back to you and have you address a few of those things and then call back. Now, if that should ever happen, it's never happened to me, but I'm saying if it does happen, you don't have to go through the entire process. Once you call back, you'll start right where you left off, so you don't have to go through the whole 20-minute process leading up to that. Okay, make the sale before you call. Make sure your client can hear. It's always a good deal if they can't. What I always do is I tell the underwriter, I say, you know, Tristan, I'm sitting here with Mary Jones, and she's got a hearing aid, but still sometimes she doesn't hear well, and at that point the underwriter will, of course, slow down and speak a little louder so that helps that policyholder hear the questions. Always have these things ready. I think you can see kind of why if I ask the policyholder to get their Medicare number and they have to get up and go get it, and then I ask for the banking information, they have to get up and go get it, and then I talk about their medication and their doctor's name. Every time they have to go get something like that, that slows the process down. It frustrates you as an agent. It frustrates the policyholder. So this is what we call kind of a cheat sheet. That way the policyholder, this is how we prepare the client. These are the things that are going to transpire. Make sure that stuff's readily available. On the medications, I always just have them read it right off their pill bottle, and that just seems to help out a lot. So prepare the client, and the interview will go very smoothly. The replacement form right now, you can fax that to 385-207-7882. And remember, let the policyholder answer the questions themselves when it comes to health information or medication. You can always help out with address, things like that. So in review, policy gets issued over the telephone. You get a policy number right after the phone call. That saves everybody time and money. We always say, yes, you can still use paper applications. There's nothing stating that you cannot use paper. And the app is taken and issued in every policy. And then things that I like and you like, especially at this time of year, commissions get paid quickly. Okay, so guys, there's the tele-underwriting hours. They're open 12 hours every day in every time zone, Monday through Thursday, 11 hours in every time zone on Fridays. And again, the numbers right there are below for the tele-underwriting number and the fax number. And guys, you can always get that, call in and we'll send it to you. Okay, there is the IAC contact information. If you want that, let us know. We will fax it to you, and that way you can have that printed off and handy for your review. That way if you have new business questions, you know the number to call. If you have claims, there's a mailing address or a fax number, premium right down at the bottom. And I think you'll find this a very helpful little piece of information. Okay, I am your presenter. My name is Bill Ellsworth. I got Todd Weiss as our Regional Sales Director. Cindy handles the license, and supplies can be handled on the agent website and through Amber Nevin. She will help you with that. So I believe that was the last slide. It was. Rashawn, do we have the ability to take questions on this, or have they pretty well been answered?
Hey, Bill, most of the questions have been answered, but a couple people did ask about the replacement notice if they're selling over the phone. I think you went over that already, but can you talk about how you handle that when you sell over the phone and you need to sign a replacement notice?
Yes. Right here is a sheet that's got the somewhere on there, maybe that's, yeah, new business fax. That's where you would fax a replacement notice, 385-207-7882. And what I do, guys, if I'm selling it over the telephone and there's a replacement notice, I tell my policyholder, it amazes me how many people on Medicare, regardless of their age, whether they're 65 or 75 or 80, how many people have email anymore and use their computer on a regular basis. You can scan that, send it to them. They can print it off, sign it, and send it back to you. Just give them some instruction, and that way they can, or you can just tell them where to mail it. They can mail it directly to the contact sheet there for agency services, or where am I at here? Policy owner services, I mean, send it to that address, 3270 Salt Lake City, Missouri, so, or Salt Lake City, Utah. But yeah, the replacement notice on a three-way call, that's the only process that really slows the Teleapp process down. But as Tristan was addressing, that's going to be solved for you guys very shortly to where you don't have to worry about that. I'll do another webinar when that's available to show you how to go about doing that online through IAC, and I think you're going to love what you see. But for right now, the replacement notice, or if you're in Illinois, the Illinois checklist has to be signed. That's only 2 wet signatures that we ever have to have. If you're doing open enrollment or guarantee issue, no replacement form needed. But on a fully underwritten case, we do have to have that signed, and you guys will have at least 2 weeks to get that done. So some agents will just hard mail it to them with a addressed envelope back to the insurance company. Say, here, just sign this, send it in. You can do it that way. But that is one thing that we have to have. So hopefully that answers the guys' questions. Anything else, Todd?
And that is it, Bill.
All right, guys. Took a little bit longer than I expected, but we really, really appreciate you joining us. Take a look at IAC. They are going to be a strong player in the Medicare supplement market for 2015, one of the top companies out there price-wise, benefit-wise, and they have a great back office selected. So with that said, guys, I'm going to jump off here. Take care. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you the next time. Thank you.